So I want to say a couple things about the lab that's due on Wednesday, tutorial 24, because it's a little bit tricky and there's a lot of info that's not given in the PowerPoint slides. So I've already made one video on this topic, and that video was talking about this part of the application. So they don't give you a lot of information about how to make this program, which is a completely separate program that writes information to a file. And in the previous video, we went through how to create that thing. So I'll just remind you that it was this, and you change this to be something, and you set the price to be some amount, and then you pick some event, and then you describe the event, and now you open a file to save this information to, and the file that I'm using is Audi, and enter it, and now it's gone and it's in the file. And so let me show you where the file is. It's right here. So this is the information that we just wrote. So on day 3 of the month at 5:49 p.m. for $33, you do the ostrich plucking. One thing to notice here is that the file ends in a new line just naturally. And if you really wanted to, you could stop that from happening. It's going to turn out to have important consequences for the next part of the project. But let's just see why it ends in a new line there. The reason is because here when we're doing the output, we're using the write line function. You could instead do write, without the line, and you wouldn't get a new line character at the end. But you actually want one because you want, when this whole process goes again, you want to have a nice place, a nice clean place to start over. If it weren't for that new line at the end of the file, then if I input more information into this thing, instead of starting here on the new line like it should, it would start at the end of this line and make a big mess. All right, so let me close this and let's forget about that. All right. Now here is my data file, and I'm going to be reading that in the other program. The other program, if you want to see a picture of it, is this program. So there is a calendar object and there are days of the month, and the idea is it reads the file, and then when you select one of these calendar days, this combo box gets populated with the events that your data file says are happening on that day. And then you can kind of go through those in the combo box, and as you go through them in the combo box, the description changes to match the event that's being referred to in the combo box. And let's look at that thing. So I call that the reader. So there's writer, which we've already talked about, and here's the reader. So first let's just run it. And so, okay, so what's happening is I run this. So I differed from the suggestions in the PowerPoint slides in a few places, and this is one of them. So if you look at what's written in the PowerPoint slides, they tell you when you come down to the extract data method, when you open a stream reader, you should just open a stream reader called calendar.txt. But then you have this, problem of where to put calendar.txt and keeping that synchronized with your other writing application. So instead of doing all that, I just did a global string file name, and here in the constructor for the form, I do get file using the open file dialog browser, which is why when I ran the program I got, where did it go? Did I close it or something? I guess so. So when I ran the program, no, it's out there. Where did it go? I don't know. Oh, is this it? Maybe? Yeah, so here's my open file dialog browser. And I think so, unless I'm just crazy. No, I'm just crazy. That's not it. Well, I guess I'll just stop debugging and see where it went. So there it is. It pops up. And I'm going to pick this file that I've been writing to using the writing part of the application. And here it is. And in this file, you can see there's several things. Like there's a lot happening on the 3rd day of the month. And so as I go through my calendar here, on a lot of days, like the first day, there are no events. But if I go over to the 3rd day, then all of a sudden the combo box becomes populated with events. And here they are. There's a balloon race, there's Dalmatian adoption, there's Charles Bronson's birthday, ostrich plucking. And then on other days of the month there are other things going on too. And you could just kind of go around here Oh, there was one, wasn't there? I don't know. 14th is one. So in the 14th, you've got mule baiting, and I don't know. So that's what the program is supposed to do. And let me go through and show you my code. I'll try to make this bigger so you can see it better. So a lot of this is just straight from the PowerPoint, so I won't say much about those things. This is, I've already said that I use the open file dialog code, and if you want to see that get file code, it's right here. So it's exactly the same as the code that I gave you for the reading application. So it's just, check validity. There's some things that you have to take out because you don't really need them anymore. I also changed this so that it returns the string. So now get file returns a string, which is different than before. And check validity, I'm not really doing anything with this. You could omit that part if you wanted to. And this is some stuff that is straight from the PowerPoint. So let's take it from the top here. So here we go through, we declare these global things. Like I said, I also have this file name, and you extract data. And so this is something that I added. What this does is it brings the window to the front. It's kind of nice that that happens. Like here, if you select your output, or I guess your input file, then you want this window to come to the front. Like, see, it did that actually. You probably didn't even notice because most applications do that. But if you leave these two lines out, then it's kind of sad. What happens? Your browser comes up and you select it, and then where's your window? It's not there. It's right here. You want it to actually pop up, and So that's what these lines do. Makes it a little bit nicer. And this I think is straight from the. I changed some variable names, and this is also changed, but everything else is pretty much straightforward. One thing I did is I added a try catch block because some things can go wrong. I was having a problem with this line, this parsing line, and the reason is I was paying so much attention to this new line at the end of the file. This is why. This new line at the end of the file will cause a bug in that parse statement. And it's kind of irritating and takes a few minutes to figure out why it's breaking when it gets here. But the reason is, and the code that you get from the PowerPoint there is not this line. So this line is new with me also. And the reason that so this just looks for the line to be empty, and when you get to the new line at the end, it breaks the while loop. And what is the while loop doing? It's just going through the file line by line. So the new line, or the blank line at the end, breaks the program as it's described in the PowerPoint slide, because as long as the line exists, so this peak greater than -1 just means that the line exists. So that new line at the end exists. There it is. There's an existing line. So oh, great, let's go in and do all this. And when we get here, we try to parse the line, and it's the empty string, and then this throws like some kind of formatting exception. And so, keep an eye out for that. Now, this other stuff is pretty much just exactly what they tell you to do in the PowerPoint slides. And here's the part where you catch the exception, so that's new too. I think all this stuff is pretty much exactly the way they tell you to do it. And I guess that's it. It's not that hard. Now here we're back to the stuff with the file dialog. So that's the end, and that's the end of the lab, so hopefully it's not too much trouble. And I'll just stop the video now.